Hey guys, welcome to Roadie 7 with Shuts and Boom, Season 2, Episode 6. I am Shuts.
Boom.
How you doing, Boom?
Phenomenal. How are you?
Good. We're getting close, aren't we?
Close to what?
Oh, I know it. Yeah, fall ball for you, baseball.
Yes. we're like T-minus 10 days away.
Oh boy,
9 days now. Yeah, 9 days away. I think from fall ball starting. I'm excited.
it's Friday. Coach Frost is coming up. We got it. Just over 2 weeks. We play football.
Foosball.
Foosball.
I
Are you
love
playing the
foosball.
foosball behind my back?
You know it. You know
No.
I am.
It's been an exciting week. We try to tap the brakes, but it's been an exciting week. You just showed me, in fact, pictures of Jakeem Green. I knew he was big. I knew he was good. Holy cow.
When you've got Daniels saying he wears 330 better than I do.
Older defensive tackle, Darian Daniels,
Yeah.
who himself is 6'4", 330 pounds.
Yeah, saying he wears it better than I do. And he does.
He's 6'6", this kid.
And I'm not taking anything away from Daniels. This kid doesn't look like he has an ounce of fat on him.
He's huge.
Tree trunks
Yeah. For legs and arms.
and a head.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
We just watched a couple drills. It's
He
not
is-
a lot to go on, but he can move. With the one we did, the cone drills we did watch.
Jakeem Green is Groot.
Yeah. I am Groot.
He is.
I am
He's
Jakeem.
close to it.
And when Shenander, defensive coordinator for Nebraska, says, you know what? He's been gone 10 days. Don't let that fool you that he will not play or that he could not start.
He's going to play.
He's going to play.
And by the end of the season, he might be starting. By midseason, he might be starting. It depends on how quickly he can pick up the playbook. And as you did point out, he looked good in drills, but you made a great point before we went on air. When it comes to Jakeem Green, we don't know one element quite yet.
What's that, Boom?
Well, you tell me. You're the one who mentioned it. You're
just messing with you. I'm having
I
fun
know.
with him. We don't know his stamina. I'm sure he it could be just fine. We don't know. And I'm sorry, a 30-second drill isn't going to tell you that.
No.
You said before the show, that's why I asked you, how well is he into the playbook? You know how, the receivers coach, Troy Walters, offensive coordinator, says, you can catch all day as a receiver. No block, no rock. You don't know the playbook, I can't trust you out there. To Coach T said the same thing, defensive line coach. If you don't know what you're doing out there and you don't have toughness, which this kid I'm sure is tough, and all of them are tough, well, you're going to be standing next to me.
Yes, sir.
So, but interesting enough on that topic, we've had a couple of feel-good, I shouldn't say feel-good stories, I should say surprises, rhymers, kid out of Lincoln.
Getting a lot
A love.
of love from players, coaches.
When Barrett Ruud gives you love, when Shenander gives you love, that's something. Especially Barrett Ruud. Not to say anything from Chins, the defensive coordinator, but when Barrett Ruud, who played middle linebacker at the University of Nebraska, is giving you love as a freshman, that's a good sign.
When you've got current stars of this football team looking around going, who's 28? Who's 28? And they're talking about, a kid from Lincoln, walk on, making a lot of noise. Right now is in Chin's top 4 when it comes to playing at linebacker. He's going to see a lot of – if he stays –
Continues to progress. We still got another week of camp.
We do, and we have outside of camp I think we've established at this point he will see the field this year. He's gonna get some clock.
He got some love. Walters, the receivers offensive coordinator coach, was saying how much Mike Williams and Javion McQuitty, who go back and rewind the clocks a year. Me and you looked at each other and go, they may never see the field. They may. You never want to play that. You never want to deal in absolutes when it comes to football because you're a play away from.
Did you see any of the footage from, I believe it was Wednesday? They did the Nebraska drill, which is the Oklahoma drill, but with 3 layers. You've got the running back, and then
I did see that with what's his name?
Those receivers and those DBs, man, they were going I loved it, though. I loved it. They were going at it, like full bore going at it.
It was Brent Banks. He's the kid out of Arizona that was a 4-star. They showed a video I just watched right before we went on the air, and over comes Darian Daniels showing this kid love because he made a great play. Shucked the lineman, stuffed the running back. It was pretty sweet. Again, it was one drill. Let's not jump to conclusions. He's a starter. But there was that. There was they interviewed Noah Vedral, but they interviewed, first time I remember hearing him talk, Luke McCaffrey. Well-spoken.
Sharp kid.
Well-spoken.
Yeah, sharp.
Mature. There's something going on in that quarterback's room that I really like.
Coach Verducci is becoming my favorite coach, position coach on the team.
Verdue he's a quirky guy, stogie in the mouth,
See,
walking into
that's
the
the
stadium.
thing, man. I'm drawn to the oddities in this world.
Take a look in the mirror, Boom.
Well,
of course.
But I mean,
oddities.
take a look at the field, and who's my favorite newcomer? A guy with a bleached blonde mullet.
Yeah,
Who's my favorite coach? Dude with a mustache.
You like Ross
and a big
DeZeris
stove.
a couple years ago? He owned
Rossi
the mustachery.
Rossi was my guy. You know, Verduzco knows his stuff.
There's something going on there. I was impressed. You said something to me off air that I kind of, at the time, I gaffed off to you about old Luke. Not because I have anything against Luke McCaffrey, but I said, number 2, no way. I go, not this year. That's all Noah Vedral all day long. Now I at least got to entertain it.
I think Vedral's your 2. I think he's your guy. I think you hold McCaffrey to a 4-game limit unless you absolutely have to play him more than 4.
I will say this. I think he plays 4, no doubt in my mind.
Oh, he's going to see the field. The question's going to be when.
Because they're going to want to get Noah snaps too. I mean, they're going to want to pull Adrian. That's true.
Well, and not only that, but God forbid Adrian goes down. You need to make sure that he has all the eligibility he.
Well, I'll say
need.
this. This is without a doubt. Whether he plays 4, because first things first is. We're not going to pick a team. Nebraska, which I think in some of these games this year, at least 1 or 2, is going to be up quite substantially in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to say those 2, but I think there's going to be 2. You're going to yank Adrian. You're going to pull him. And in's going to come Noah. But I wouldn't be surprised if in that fourth quarter, late into the third, into the fourth quarter, a 50-50 split, rotating split between him and Luke just to give them both reps. I'll tell you this: I have no doubt in my mind Luke McCaffrey, is on the travel. He's on the travel.
Oh, he's making the trip.
He's making every trip.
Absolutely.
I was really shocked about the receivers because me and you, we talked about Mike Williams and Jaron Woodyard. They were both not transferred, they were JUCOs. Last year, sparingly at best, they played. No substantial plays really from them. They might have played. The confidence wasn't there.
Not only the confidence, they wouldn't and couldn't block.
No block, no rock, and the confidence they said with McQuitty too. He's not a transfer, but all 3 of those guys, McQuitty, Woodyard, and Mike Williams, are all getting love from Walters. I love our combination of who we have right now. I'm feeling better, and of course, part of it's hype. You know, it's the season's about to come up. We're going to go undefeated. Everybody's undefeated right now. It's a great time of year. But when you hear somebody like Ryan Held, the running backs coach, saying, I don't know what people are talking about. We don't have options. Oh, we don't have anybody. He goes, I got to tweak a few things. But I got Ramir Johnson in my room. I got Ronald Tompkins, who's coming off of an injury, he quoted this a couple weeks ago when camp started. He goes, if Ronald Tompkins hadn't injured himself his senior year, every college in the country would have been after him.
I want to bring up a name that we've talked about, that we're going to continue to talk about, that's going to continue to be brought up, who is still getting a ton of reps at practice. That's Mo Washington. That tells me something. Mo Washington is getting an awful lot. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to take the ball away from him. You don't. You still want him to get reps. But dude is getting a ton of reps. This case keeps dragging on. I think he sets a game. I think if the court case is unresolved come week 2, Mo Washington's headed to Boulder. Mo Washington's playing against Colorado.
Do you think so?
Yes. I don't know why you can. Now, they got a ton of options, as you just pointed out. You've got a ton of guys. Wandale can play back there. You got both of the newcomers that can play back there. You got Dedrick Mills, the Thunder, to whomever happens to be the Lightning combination with him. You've got a room where you've got 4-5 viable options, but Mo is getting a ton of carries and a ton of reps.
Feel good wise, you'd like to think it's because we want to keep him positive, we want to keep him, but we're getting down to the nitty gritty where this upcoming week, boys, the guys that are going to get the most reps coming up this next week are the guys that are going to play. I didn't say all of them were
with the exception of the guys who are still limping their way back from injury.
Sure. But the point is that we've moved on from by week 3.
We know who the Jimmies and Joes are.
We know who the Jimmies and Joes are. If you're not a rotator, yeah, you're going to be playing scout team. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it is. They've got to, because 2 weeks from or over a week from now, we're in game prep. Now we're studying South Alabama. We don't have time for this or that. They're going to keep it competitive all year. That's the beauty of how Scott Frost does things. Don't get me wrong. He's not just shutting it down and that's it. No, but now we're getting to the nitty-gritty of things. I think there's going to be some surprises as far as who starts the season, who ends the season. There always is, by the way. That's nothing new. People get injured. Players don't work out. It happens. Mo Washington's an interesting case for me. I haven't talked a lot about him the last couple of weeks because I just don't know. I don't know. It's one of those deals that, I mean, if you're cutting through all the red tape, you have a felony, I have a tough time believing he's here. You don't have a felony.
But if this case is not determined,
well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that it won't be determined until after the first game.
Correct.
And that's not even the ruling. That's just they meet.
That's another hearing.
Yeah, that's another hearing.
Which is why I think he plays.
Do you?
He's charged.
Yeah.
He's charged with something that isn't a felony in this state.
True.
Now, 35 states, it is.
Yeah,
The state of Nebraska, what he did is not a felony.
But he did. If they can prove this, I don't want to go too far down this, but if they can prove venue of where he sent, which they cannot, but if they could, that's a crime. That's a felony. If you can prove where he sent child pornography from, and I'm not saying no one hears me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not making accusations here.
Right.
But it's interesting. I don't know that what a pub deal. What a publicity deal. I'm not saying you're wrong. But what a gamble to take if they roll snake eyes and he gets a felony and you've been playing a felon. I don't know. I don't know.
You were playing a guy who was charged.
Innocent until proven guilty. I'm behind it 100%. I am behind it 100%.
And I'm not saying that Scotty should or shouldn't. This is a very delicate balance. I just don't see. I mean, you want to keep him in shape just in case or whatever might happen. Hell, you can redshirt him this year. You can do that. If it comes down to it, you could redshirt him this year, and then you've got him for another year, which is phenomenal. Because then you basically have, I mean, him and Wandale for the next 3 years together. Okay. Think about that. And Ramir Johnson.
And Ronald Tompkins. And the running backs they'll bring into this next recruiting class. And, it's we were talking, you read an article, and we were talking the options. We're not going to go too far into the play design scheme.
So many options.
Oh, my goodness. The packages they can throw offensively is sick with just running back, and the fact that this quarterback's a true dual threat. Nothing against quarterbacks to come from the past, but this guy we got at quarterback now with our running backs, I feel a lot better than I did. I feel a lot better about our running backs than I did 2 weeks ago. Surprise, surprise. I thought with Mo Washington out, me and you, before we went on air on season 2, without him, that's real dicey. We didn't know anything about Dedrick Mills. We're getting nothing but praise about Dedrick Mills.
Now, I would love I'm going to be honest. I want to see Mo Washington play this year. I want to see him in year 2, how much he's developed, see what he can do when he's got some tape laid down. People have been able to study his style of play, maybe know a few tendencies. Now, what you're not going to be able to predict is how you might run him in this offense with the options they have. Dude could be lined up at center for all I know.
When Ryan Held says that he's so excited about...
It's a joke, by the way.
Yeah. He's so excited about how the packages he can put together with this room he could not last. Not because... let's be honest. It was personnel.
Personnel.
And now he's got the people to do it. I'm really excited about Mills. He sounds like an old school bruiser, but if you hear Ryan Held talk about him, he's like, yeah, we like that, but this offense is designed to... When it comes time and you have to do that, go ahead and lower your head and do it. But we also want to teach you a little more finesse. Sounds like this guy's just a hammer, which I like. If I'm cutting with a running back, my personal opinion, if I've got a running back that's raw, of course you want speed, you want shiftiness. But being a hammer is kind of either you've got that or you don't. They compared him to Devine Azigbo, and Ryan Held was quick to cut off. No, he's not. He's different than Devine Azigbo. Devine had a little more finesse. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
If you have more tools in the toolbox, the better. If you can do it all like the late Lawrence Phillips, he could slash, he could juke, he could run over you, he can run past you. Well, that's great. But the smash mouth mentality is what I love. There's some running backs, I see it all the time in high school, that they don't want to lower the shoulder, lower the boom into people.
Well, you know how Scott's talked about, and you've talked about ad nauseum almost, the whole physicality and finesse combination that Scott Frost really wants out of his offense. This is the guy who brings the wood every single week. When you're talking about Dedrick Mills, it sounds to me like a guy who might maybe almost, of course he had some finesse too, but a Buckhalter used to bring it.
Or like a Dan Alexander.
Or Dan Alexander, only I don't think he's quite as big as old Dan Alexander was a massive
240.
man. He was huge.
But I like that mentality. I do. And the fact that he's teaching him. I mean, Ryan Held played running back in Nebraska.
Quentin Castile.
Yeah.
Do you remember Quentin Castile before he left?
Era, yeah.
That dude was a big bruiser.
See, I like that. And if what Ryan Held's like, we want that quality. But if we can get a little finesse in there too, if we can add that to your toolbox, your repertoire, all the better we're going to be. And I like that. And Held, for the first couple of games like we talked about, they're going to be playing musical chairs with people and combinations, what have you. Hey, at the very end of the day, if this kid's nothing, I think he will be more. But if he's just a bruiser, hey, great. Let's have Wandell and JD and Moses Bryant and
Noah.
Adrian and run the ball and finesse, wear them down.
Have Noah, Spielman, maybe Jack Stoll, Austin Allen.
And so you run them ragged, and then in the fourth quarter you bring the old bruiser in, because Ryan Held another quote: "No one's tackling this guy with one arm. Nobody is. And if he has to hit a pile, that pile's moving. The whole pile's moving. You know what? I've seen it plenty of times. We all have. Not even talking about the glory days, which are a prime example. When you're tired in the fourth quarter and they just keep pounding on you and they bring in the bruiser backs and they bring in the fullbacks to run the ball, you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And make no mistake, from what we've heard and the limited amount of video we've been able to get from Dedrick Mills, dude's a fullback.
Well, that's
for all intents and purposes, he's a fullback.
That's the interesting thing is he came from Paul Johnson's Georgia Tech offense. Paul Johnson coached at Navy. His whole scheme was a Navy scheme. It's, you got the wing tee, the option. He ran all that, and in the position that Dedrick Mills played was a glorified fullback. That's what it was. He's right behind the quarterback, take it up the middle. We might toss to you every now and then, or you might get it on a counter, but you're really in a 3-point stance and you're going to run up the middle.
Actually, I think there was a quote. I can't remember if it was Chins or who it was. Might have been Coach Held. I don't know. I can't remember, but they talked about how it could have been a player now that I think about it. But they were talking about Mills and how he hits the hole, and how he'll move that pile like you said, but he's not the most patient guy.
That's what Ryan Held. That's what Ryan Held was wanting to hit on. Is that I like that, but I need somebody to be
that finesse. That's what you're talking about.
Is finesse, and he's not calling him dumb. It's not that he's a dumb player.
He's eager.
We need you to see the bigger picture.
Yeah,
I like a good hammer, but we need to see the bigger picture. I think the light is clicking with a lot of these guys. These receivers. They quoted Mike Williams, who's been he was highly touted, and never really did. He had a couple catches. It's now or never. He said that. He's like, and the reporters talked about how excited the excitement in his voice. There's an attitude around there. I'm not going to make outrageous claims about what we're going to do this season. We'll get to that. I'm sure we'll have our ESPN countdown and our whole pick'em like we did last year on the ESPN pick'em. We'll do that this year.
I'm actually getting ready to set that up. Glad you brought that up. Be watching the social medias, because that's good. I'm actually getting ready to set that up. We will devise the password and all that stuff. We'll devise the lovely group name, and
you know what we're gonna get. We're gonna get. I smoked you last year in the Bulls. You remember? I got to rub that in real quick.
That's fine. That's fine.
You. But you know what the funny thing is? Before you go any further, we're gonna bring Ashley, our awesome, beautiful, talented managing editor. We're gonna bring her in to pick them, and you know what? She's probably gonna kick both our asses.
Well, here's the thing. Like when it come to the bowls, I didn't change a damn game. I didn't research a game. I didn't change a game. I literally went down and just picked. You did. You were changing games continuously throughout bowl season. Now the question is, when I do this, do we make it interesting? Because we could do a straight up pick 'em, or we could go with confidence points. Not just this is who I think's going to win, but I'm willing to bet 10 points that this team beats this team. And this is so I haven't made up my mind yet. I have not made up my mind which way we're going to play.
We need to consult Ashley because I want to bring her into this. Watch, she'll beat us. The two
I'm sure
football
she will.
gurus.
I'm sure
she'll
she
come in. She's a total rock star. She'll come in and probably beat us both.
By the way, I hope you know that I know that you are per learning from the Oracle. We both shied away from picking Nebraska games last year. Here's the problem with that. It's not going to happen every week, but this pick 'em, sometimes Nebraska's going to be there and we're going to have to pick. Hell, think about this. What if, and I know I'm putting way too many ducks in a row before we get there, the cart in front of the horse. What if Nebraska, Ohio State is the featured game? What if you have to pick the points in that game as a tiebreaker because it's the prime time game on ESPN?
I predict that there'll be a winner and a loser, and there'll be 4 quarters of football.
But anybody who's in this league with us will be able to see exactly who you picked and everything. Maybe not the score, but you won't be able to hide. You won't.
That's if you go confidence, or even if you don't go confidence.
Even if you don't go confidence, there's always one game where you have a tiebreaker where they make you choose the score.
Oh boy!
Now I'm already in one league. A friend of ours, a listener, Ron, invited me to his pick'em league already. So I've already seen the games. I can't remember all of them, but I've already seen the games for week 1.
If Nebraska's trajectory is where a lot of people think it's going to go this year, all the talking heads and the experts and the Phil Steels and what have you, Nebraska's going to be in some pick'ems, and they're going to be in some games where you bet they're going to be in the top 20. They're going to be in the big major matchups of the weekend. So yeah, we will. And you know what? We won't get the Oracle, but we've got some Oracle sounds. We'll have the Oracle on. We'll have him pick him whether he wants to or not. In person, he'll never do it.
No,
I've been around him my entire life. He won't do it. He will not do it. But we'll have him on the show, and he'll do it on the show. We'll have him pick on the show.
Yes.
No, we're gonna bring Ashley in. The website's gonna be launching soon.
Monday. We are a few days away. I'm actually working on the first opinion piece of mine that I will be doing. A little teaser. It has to do with the upcoming season. It has to do with expectations. It has to do with what I think of those expectations. But I don't outright give. I got to save some of this stuff. But I'm not going to give you an outright prediction on the season. But maybe a few thoughts as to where my expectations land as opposed to the national pundits and maybe a lot of other Husker fans.
And guys out there, you need to follow us. You need to subscribe. But also, if you want me to do that video I was talking about, let me know.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the people.
Don't wait for the people.
Don't wait for the people.
Give the people what they want.
Give the people what they need.
Ooh.
Give the people what they need. You need to break down the X's and O's for the Jimmies and Joes. You've got to Ric Flair this stuff for some people, buddy. You have to.
I'm going to do it.
You have to do it.
You know what? Boom's convinced me I'm going to do it. We're also going to be sitting down with Ashley and doing an interview with Ashley.
Yeah, she's going to be profiling Shutzy and I for a featured story that will be on the website on opening day, as I like to call. I'm a baseball guy, so opening day or the day the site launches, there's going to be a profile on Shutzy and I.
A good in-depth one. It's going to be good. Keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for that. Yeah. We got a lot. We got so much coming down the pipeline.
We do, and we're getting closer to the season. It's going to be exciting. My weekend's a full blur. Football season's already started for me for officiating, but
which is lovely. Like I got 10 days, man. I got 10 days. Yes, that means on Husker game days, there's a good chance that I will be umping on game day. Don't worry. I took off the 7th. I took off the weekend.
The Schuts annual Husker
party.
For the
Schuts annual Husker party. I took that weekend off, so I'll be free. I'm definitely going to be with Schutsy watching the Colorado game from Schutsville, USA.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be big. We're having Buffalo-themed party.
Yes.
This is our 11th time doing it. We're excited. It's going to be a good one. We'll put details of that show on there, too.
We might have pictures.
We might have pictures. Who knows?
We might have audio. God only knows.
This is going to be a wild and crazy year. We're getting more and more excited, let alone for football season, but just this show.
The show, the website. There's so Row 87.
Row 87, period.
Is in motion.
Just Row 87, period. Shuts and boom.
Motion.
We're just the jackasses behind the wheel.
I love it. Absolutely, we're the jackasses behind the wheel.
So stay tuned with us. Keep following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Tweeter.
A bunch of content is coming down the pipe. Give us the email, Boom.
Email is shuts.boom. That's a period, a punctuation mark. Shuts.boom at row87.com.
Facebook, Twitter, the whole nine. We're going to be back same time next week, guys. We'll have more information. We'll be getting closer to game week. It's going to be exciting. Stick with us. Follow us. Recommend us to your friends. We're going to have games coming up. We're going to have events to get you guys involved. Polls, what have you, all of it. It's going to be exciting. We are so thrilled.
We're going to do some things. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
We launch on freaking Monday, dude.
Oh, my. It's time is flying.
I got so much work to do before Monday. It's insane.
Well, that's all right.
It's worth it, though.
Oh, it's so worth it. This is a long time coming to fruition for two brothers. It's a dream come true.
And we're just glad you are all a part of this journey. Like, seriously, all three of you who listen religiously, we love you.
We love you.
We love you so much.
We are so excited. With that, I am Shuts.
I'm Boom.
We'll catch you next week.